everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are returning, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. I'm very happy to have you here. My name is Sydney from Sid Stories, and today we're going to go over the books that I read in January. So I finished 7 books in January, and that's actually really good for me. 2 of them are audiobooks, so that definitely helped boost it up a little bit. But I'm pretty proud of that 7, honestly. So, yeah, let's get into the books. The first book that I finished this month was The Poppy War by R.F. My dog's trying to come in, sorry. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And you guys, this book is amazing. Um, it was the first book that I finished this year, and it's probably going to be my favorite book of the year. It's so good. It is a grim, dark fantasy that is kind of centered around slash based on the opium wars that happened in China. And when I say grim dark, I mean it. This book is very, very dark. This book focuses on our main character, Rin, who lives in a rural province in this world, but she manages to do really well on a test that places her in the best military academy in their country. So she goes there, but she's treated awful because of how she looks versus how people in the capital look, which is where the military academy is. So she has all of those obstacles to face, but that is just the beginning. That's only like the first maybe 150 pages. This book is over 500 pages. So there is a lot that happens in this book. A war occurs, there are gods and lore and brutality, and it's just so good. So much happened in this book. I have no idea how more can even happen. I don't know what's going to fit into the next 2 books of the trilogy, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm gonna read it as soon as I can. So, this book I gave a 5 out of 5 easy, one of the easiest 5 out of 5 ratings I've ever given, and it was just so good. The next book that I finished this month is a little bit of a different one. It's Poison, a History, an account of the deadly arts and its most infamous practitioners by Jenny Davis. So I have a decent amount of downtime at work, so this book was really good to read when I was just sitting um waiting to transfer patients. I work in the medical field, so this was just perfect for that, and it's just a recounting of different instances of poisoning throughout history. And it starts way back in Socrates, his poisoning, and then it finishes all the way in like 2006. Yeah, 2006. So it has all those stories and pictures of the people that were poisoned or the poisoners, and it has little blurbs about the poison that was used so you can kind of learn more about it. I swear I'm not planning on poisoning anyone. This book was just really interesting, especially because I work in the medical field, and I just like knowing how different things affect the body on a chemical level. So yeah, this was really a fun, different read. I didn't rate it because this one's like kind of weird to rate. It's not really a novel or anything, but I will say that I did really enjoy it. The next book that I finished this month was the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, and that is Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. I hauled the third book, Kingdom of the Feared, in the book haul that I posted recently, and this book was good. I enjoyed it for reasons that I didn't think that I would. Um, like I mentioned in my book haul, this is kind of where the series stopped being really YA, which I liked. I'm not a huge YA fan, so when I kind of could tell what direction the book was going to be going in, I was really happy about it. And if you don't know, this book follows a witch. It follows a witch named Amelia who comes from Italy in about the 1800s, and her quest and mission to solve the murder of her twin. And that's not a spoiler, that was in the synopsis of the very first book, so that's okay. And along her journey, she meets several princes of hell, one of which is the prince. My dog is chewing on everything. Is the Prince of Wrath, who obviously is going to be a very big love interest and character in the series. And this book definitely focuses a lot on the romance between the two of them, which is why it stopped being very YA. The writing in this series isn't my favorite. The author tends to ramble a little bit, but besides that, I enjoyed it. It was good. I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. Since she's making so much noise, she might as well say hi. Here's Cleo again. She was in my last video. If you hear any noises, that's her. That's what she likes to do. Okay, go over there. Love you. Okay. The next two books that I finished this month are the second and third book of the Kiss Quotient trilogy, The Bride Test and The Heart Principle by Helen Hoang. And I'm going to go over these books separately. So, starting with The Bride Test, I liked this one the middle of the three. I liked the Kiss Quotient the most, and then this one, and then the Heart Principle. If you don't know, this series focuses on three members of the same family, and in every one of the books, there is a character who's on the autism spectrum. And in this book, it is Kai, who is a character in the first book. He is the main male love interest cousin, but this is his book, and him and his love interest named Esme. Esme lives in Vietnam, and Kai's mother travels to Vietnam, and she meets Esme, and she brings Esme back to America because she wants Kai to marry her. But Kai, at first, isn't really into it. He's like, "Who is this intruder in my house? Go away." But obviously, throughout the series, you start to see a romance build between them, and you start to see Esme really understand what it means to be autistic and what it would take for Kai to be comfortable around her. So yeah, this one was really good. I didn't love it as much as the Kiss Quotient because some points were a little frustrating, but also you can't really blame that on the characters. But there still was a lack of proper communication. So, because of that, I gave this one a 4 out of 5. I still really enjoyed it though. The Heart Principle, though, is a little bit different than the other two books in the series. It focuses less on romance and more on trying to really find who you are as a person and be comfortable in your own skin. And if I knew that going into it, I would have liked it a lot more. But I went into it expecting a romance like the other two. So it took me a little bit to warm up to what this book actually is. The male love interest in this book is Quan, and he was my favorite character in the first two books. He is just the biggest teddy bear, and he is so sweet. And I was really, really looking forward to finding out about what? Finding out about his happy ending. So it focuses on Quan and Anna, who is a professional violinist. But and there is a love story in this. There definitely is. But again, like I said, it does focus more on dealing with finding yourself and finding out that you are autistic, like this main character does, and dealing with autistic burnout and masking, which I didn't know a lot about masking before reading this, but I learned a lot about it during this, and that was really enlightening. I really enjoyed that. But again, because I went into this expecting something totally different, I find it kind of hard to rate it. So I am giving it a tentative 3 out of 5. I think if I went into it expecting more of a contemporary book, I would give it a higher rating, but I think that's fair. It was still a good romance, but just again, not what I was expecting, but I still really liked it. So yeah. The next two books that I finished this month are actually audiobooks. So I'm going to start with Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. Is that right? Yes, by Bonnie Garmis. And this book obviously has been a huge hit. It was Barnes and Noble Book of the Month last year. I mean, Book of the Year last year. And I was a little tentative going into it because I typically don't like books that make me angry. And I know that that book focuses a lot on sexism in the STEM workplace. And I just didn't really want to deal with that. I mean, I know that exists, I have experienced that myself. So I didn't really want to read a book just filled with that. But I thought it might be a little bit better on an audiobook because I can maybe think of other things during it so I wouldn't get as upset. So that's what I did, and I did really enjoy it. I didn't expect the cooking show part of it to be such a prevalent aspect, but I actually did enjoy that. And if you don't know what that book is about, it's about a female scientist who kind of transitioned TV show chef in the 50s and 60s. So obviously that's a time ripe with sexism. But it was still very enjoyable. And I like that it didn't just focus on her scientific career, it also focused on her relationships, her friendships, her female friendships, and her becoming a mother. So I did enjoy those aspects of it. But overall, I gave it a 4 out of 5 just because I'm just not someone who goes out of my way to read books that make me angry. That's just not me. I'm not going to read a book that makes me angry or sad. I don't like crying or being mad. So that's totally just personal preference. I know that a lot of people love that book, and I'm glad. It was a very good book. The last book I read this month was another audiobook. It was an Audible exclusive audiobook, and I'm just gonna say right now I did not like it. It was Call Me Maybe by Cara Bastone, and oof, man, I did not like it. It has really good views on Goodreads, so I think it's just a me thing, but it's a romance, but it's told entirely just with the main couple talking over the phone, and they don't even know who each other really is, yet they're somehow in love with each other. And I guess I understand it because it's loving someone without knowing what they look like. So you love who they are and not what they are on the surface. But I don't know. It just didn't work for me. And also, the voice actors for it got on my nerves. They were so annoying and their voices were so cringy. And I went like that, so many times listening to it because it was just so cringy. And they hurt my ears with their cringiness. And I'm sorry, I'm going off too much. I just really, really didn't like it. I gave this one a 1 out of 5. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening to the review of the books that I read this month. I have to hold my mic because I have my other dog Daisy here and I don't want you to pick up the insane way that she snores. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for tuning into my channel again. Let me know if there are any other videos that you want me to do. Like I said in my previous video, I have a whole notebook full of videos that I want to do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you all have a great day. Bye!